This time we're going to create a radio button selection for gender, and I'm going to start off with just a little paragraph heading. Please select your gender. Quick run and refresh here. You can see we're going to have under this, please select your gender. Okay, that's perfect. And if I move back in here, so I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to put it in reverse to the last section. I'm going to put in an input box. The type is radio here. And I'm going to have an ID of male, and this is going to allow us to bind to the input here in a second. The ID male. We're going to have a name is equal to gender, and this is actually how we'll be able to distinguish between the three radio buttons. The bind or the name will be used, common name in the three of them, gender, and finally we'll have a value. So when we actually make our selection, this is what is pulled into JavaScript, what's used here. And now we're going to have a label, and this label is going to be binded to, we'll just cut it out here, but we're going to have the for attribute. So the name is for, and it's for an input box with an ID name of male, which is this fella here, and throw that in there. And just put in here now what we want. So I'm going to put in bananas just to show you that it could be bananas I put in. Of course I don't want bananas. I want male to be the selection there. And let's see that again. Refresh it. And you're going to have your male coming up here. Perfect. So we're going to repeat that process now for a female button. So I'm just going to copy that, dim two lines. It's a radio button again, so it's an input element of type radio this time. And the ID is going to be female, and I can change that straight away down here. This label is for some input element with an ID of female. So I change that straight away. Change here to female. Name is gender. Again, I told you that we'll be binding the three of these because you only want to have one radio button selected at any time. So the way we do that is by having the same name, gender, and then when you made your selection, you're submitting it, or JavaScript to grab it, we're going to have female being the one that's being returned there. So that's all good, and we've one more to do. The last one I'm going to put in here is this, so I'll copy these two again. And this last one here is going to be ID RNS, and so this label is going to be for some input box with an ID of RNS, so it's going to be binded to this fella here, or for an input box with an ID of RNS, which just stands for rather not say. So you're either male, female, or rather not say. And that's going to be over here. I'm just going to have RNS, or not say maybe. So no, we'll go RNS. We might get some issues later on with the ID and the value. So or underscore N underscore S might distinguish between it better, because as you notice here I've got a capital M for male, and then it's all small ID here, male, capital F for female, all small here, so that might distinguish between the two of them. And yeah, that's going to be grand. So that's them all done. Let's have a quick run of it, or quick look at it, how it looks. And there we've got our male, our female, rather not say. Doesn't look too pretty, but it's doing exactly what it says in the tin.